Don't ask him to do. Get specific, folks. Oh, I'm in trouble, take care of me. Well, tell him specifically what it is you want him to do. Get specific. Lord, they're attacking me with a weapon. I don't know what it is, but you do destroy it. Let him destroy it. Enable him to destroy it. You have to tell him so you can enable him to act on your behalf. He can read your mind, but don't push it that far. He wants you to get specific with him. And doing so, you enable him. Maybe he won't do it that night, but he knows he's enabled to do it. He can do it for you later when he really wants to. Now, maybe there's something coming up in a couple of days or weeks when they'll really have new equipment or something, and he wants to destroy it all at once or something. I don't know. But just, keep in mind that you have to enable him to do things. He won't act against free will. He never goes against mankind's free will. They're the first ones to blame him when things go wrong. But they, a lot of people only want him in their lives when things go bad. And he's always there, folks. And, I've been around the ringer long enough to know that going in him is a growing process. And you have to go through these baby steps to get to the adult jumps. And so many people can't get past the baby steps because the Lord leads and teaches in stages and reveals things to you in stages. And if you can't get over the little things, He can't get you to the big things. If He's telling you, I want you, this doesn't make any sense, or it might not make any sense to you at all. But He may be leading you to go out and buy a 6-pack of candles or give somebody a blanket or do something that you totally don't expect. And then you just excuse it away as, I don't need candles right now. Why do I have to give him a blanket or whatever? And so you push it aside and you don't do it. And then instead of moving on to the next level of obedience with Him, you're stuck back there at that level He can't get you off of because you're trying to use your own mind to figure the Lord out to make things that He does and says logical to you. We follow the Lord with faith in our hearts, not the things we can hear and see and feel. I mean, that's aesthetics. I see that in the codes all the time. People want to feel good, God. They want to feel good about themselves, and we believe by faith and not by sight. And so you just need to walk with Him no matter how much something doesn't make sense. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. You have no idea the impact your actions have, and I've talked about that a little bit in my writings this week. There's going to be so many people that when they stand at the judgment seat of Christ, He's going to say, look what you could have had if you had done this when I asked you to. And then He shows you all your rewards you could have had, but you didn't listen, and so you're not going to get any of those. And that's going to be one of the biggest things of the judgment seat of Christ in heaven, is when people see all the rewards they've thrown away. Or they've seen all the time they spent on earth where they didn't even care about building rewards in heaven. The Lord says, lay up treasures in heaven, where rust won't corrupt it, not here on earth. And so people need to really do a circle through the book of Matthew. That's one of my favorite books. I love Matthew. And just read Matthew, because it's got the most words in red in it than any other book in the Bible. And so that's what you need to read. Somebody sent me this stuff. But anyway, back to my trip. I want to talk about some of the cities we went through. Headed through Taos, New Mexico, and there's a huge reptilian underground base in Taos. But when you look at the city itself, you'd never know it. In fact, the little town itself wasn't even as large as I had thought it would be. Taos seems to be a pretty popular area on the map as far as the underground bases. The whole super shuttle system of our underground bases that are connected from the East Coast to the West Coast there's a centralized hub right in Taos, New Mexico. And so I didn't know exactly what to expect when I got there. But you can definitely tell that they keep these things away from the surface. Like anywhere you go, even going to like normal cities like Kansas City, where there's a huge underground city underneath it that the UN owns, you're not going to go to Kansas City and just waltz right into that underground city, even if the UN owns it or whoever. Much like these alien and human underground bases, there's not gonna be a sign or an entrance that says, here's to the super shuttle system, because all this stuff's classified. No one's supposed to know it exists. And yet in the underground world, that's where their main hub is, and so we wanted to be sure to get Taos, just to annoy all those reptilians that have that huge base out there. And they seem to try to protect that pretty much with the attacks we were under. But we got our work done regardless. And then on the Dulce, New Mexico, I mean, I have articles on my base, on my list, website, watcherfiles.com. I've been talking about Dulce for a long time. Even wrote an article about it. And underneath Dulce, New Mexico, underneath this Archuleta Mesa, is this huge, they haven't really got a specific count on it, but like 7 to 11 or 7 to 12 levels of an underground base there, starting within that mountain. And this is a place where, if you want to believe some of the early reports from people that have worked there, what they've seen there, they've seen thousands of children and humans being locked in cages, being used as food and experiments for these gray aliens. These aliens have this huge vat, a huge cauldron, and they boil water in it. And what they do is they cut up human body parts, and they put human body parts in the water. And then these aliens, they soak in the mixture like it's a jacuzzi. And they have a table not too far away from these vats where they literally just take these people out of the cages that they've abducted, and they cut them up, dismember them, and then throw them in these vats. And if that isn't enough to turn somebody's stomach, I don't know what isn't. And these are people that have disappeared. We've got 1 million people around the world every year disappear without a trace. 300,000 alone just in the United States. 1 million around the world disappear every year without a trace. Where do they go? They go to these underground bases, folks. I'm sure there's a percentage that will show up later someplace else. They just moved, left town, whatever. But you never hear about all these people. They'll give you percentages. So since last year, in the United States alone, about 600,000 people have disappeared. How come we don't hear about this on the news? In 3 years, that's 900,000. In 4 years, it's over 1 million. And this has been going on for 50 years, folks. We've been leaving food for the aliens for 50 years, and instead of stopping them, the government does what they do with illegal aliens, the same thing. They provide them with what they need. They hide them, They're in cahoots with these aliens. Give us your technology, and we'll look the other way about you stealing people all over the world. And so, in exchange, these aliens, and this has gone back since Eisenhower in 33 and Roosevelt in 54. Every year, every president has treaties with these aliens. They give them new technology. We've gotten the microchip and laser beam technologies and things like that. Yippee! Most of the technology, about 80%, is technology the public will never see because they use it in their underground bases and for their black government. Free energy that would benefit mankind, they won't release because they don't make money off that. Cures for cancers, they don't make money off cures. They make money off sick people. And so some things are never going to change until you get rid of the evil government we're in, which isn't going to happen. And so none of this technology that they're sacrificing humans for is benefiting us one darn good. And so, as always, it's the general public being hurt and screwed by a wicked and evil government in cahoots with Satan. And this has been going on for thousands of years. This isn't anything just in particular to America. I mean, this has been going on since Satan has been walking the earth. He's deceived governments. He's manipulated them. Interestingly different in the last 200-300 years is the fact that they decided to make America their stronghold. In America, Babylon, the modern